Hello, Monday again. Ready for a new week? Let's start here. The London Banker gives us this one. I came across a new word today playing Scrabble. Anomie. A collapse of the social structures governing a given society. Anomie. A collapse of the social structures governing a given society. Now, that is one very useful word. It could usefully describe the slow-motion collapse of the financial markets as investors and consumers realize that their interests are no longer protected by fiduciary, exchange, monetary and regulatory structures that once engendered confidence. Or maybe it captures the loss of patriotism and social cohesion in a globalized economy dominated by stateless corporations, their executive elites and their political puppets who are all determined to loot the public treasury while paying no taxes. One word, so much potential. I will be finding all kinds of appropriate contexts to use it, I expect, and I expect I will too. Anomie. A collapse of the social structures governing a given society. Number 2 is The Telegraph, an article that came on the weekend that I've pushed to a couple of people in comments already. UK economy, tougher love needed if we are to recover. Always an alarm bell rings when you get tough love linked together. The Telegraph view is the world's new economic order demands that we work harder, demand more from our young, and prevent an easy life on benefits. This was a week in which an uncomfortable truth began to dawn, this week apparently, that life is not only going to get tougher for most of Britain, but that it needs to get tougher if the country is to compete as a 21st century economic powerhouse. I find this quite frighteningly sickening. It's only going to get tougher for most of Britain, but that it needs to get tougher if the country is to compete as a 21st century economic powerhouse. Vomit. One more pull from this article. The truth is that Britain now operates in a global economy where billions of workers work far longer hours than we do for far less reward. 2 bowls of rice a day. This new economic order demands that we enter a new era of productivity in every sector of the economy, demand greater intellectual achievement from our young and block off the option of an easy life on benefits. This is a call to war, economic war. It's sad, sickening and pathetic that Britain thinks it's going to, in some way, with tough love, be able to compete in this 21st century global economy and become an economic powerhouse. But still, let's move on. Over to the United States, and just one more chart, number 3. I'll try not to post any more of these charts this week. We had quite enough of them last week, but this is the ECRI weekly leading index, and you can see the shape of it, and it's turning down as all of them always have. Now, this is the special one that really pointed to this time last year exactly the same, and it dropped down below that 0 level and really should have turned red. GDP should have turned red, but the leading economic indicator led us to the wrong conclusion. There wasn't a double a dipper. It went straight back up again, and this is only a smaller little turn down, but this is what everyone's getting upset about because all of these indicators are doing this turn down, and we are then projecting that it's going to go down and stay down, which is dangerous projections. Number 4, back in the UK with The Guardian UK, but talking about Afghanistan facing insolvency within a month, says officials. the IMF rejection of proposals over Kabul bank crisis, $820 million bailout debts and suspension of aid leaves the country in a deepening crisis. And apparently this is very strange. From the body of the article I pull, as long as the IMF declares the plans to be inadequate, that's what's happening in Afghanistan is not up to the IMF's demands, many countries, including Britain, are legally barred from pumping money into a government that is almost completely reliant on foreign cash to pay civil servants' salaries. You have to please the IMF, or apparently it makes a legal bar for even countries like Britain that can't chip in to help out if they thought fit. But they find the money to pour. It's just very, very difficult, isn't it? It is. Back to the United States, and this is a market ticker, Denninger chart, and it's total employed from 1999 to the present. Now I've put these vertical bars in because I saw this chart over the weekend and thought there's, it's like waves crashing in, and I thought it's very strange. This is total employed. I couldn't quite see the seasonality of it all. But so I put the bars in, and you can see there is a seasonality to it. There's definitely a starting low, rising in the middle and falling off towards the end of the year to this total employed figure. There's the general cyclical change, but in that there are the yearly shape of it. And as you can see at the moment, we're in getting towards the middle of the year, so it's going up, but presumably like the rest of the years since 1999, except 1999 by the look of it, it will go down again at the end of this year. In other words, it will be hard to keep the employed towards the end of this year like it has been towards the end of all years. And in the United States again, we get this monster chart going back to 1791. And this is the old deficit as a percentage of GDP. And you can see there have been three huge spikes down, which have been the Civil War, World War I and World War II. And this is just to get an idea of the scale of the problems now. The scale of the problem is down at Civil War sort of levels. And you can see from 1951, it's really, besides the spike in the middle there that brought it up, has been on its way down since 1951, since the end of the Second World War. But yeah, Civil War type of debt deficit to GDP at the moment. Have you noticed the Civil War going on? You might have noticed on the television, but for Greece, the new unemployment figures are out for Greece. It was only a few days ago I thought that I gave you the 14.3% unemployment. The new unemployment is out, and it is effectively now 16%. And the IMF and everybody else wants to push them harder. Flogging a dead horse as far as I can see. Let's pop over to China before we finish with the composition of China's GDP. If we start at the bottom, if you would like to follow me to the bottom, net exports have, in that blue necklace line, has gone down. Government consumption is pretty much flat. Gross fixed capital formation, investment spending, this is all just to make up GDP. It's standard across the world. So I think for China we can effectively put government consumption and gross fixed capital formation investment together and see that most of the upness is coming from investment in building stuff. The government pays to build stuff, but look at that private consumption. To balance the world out, China apparently needs to get its population not saving so much, but spending on washing machines and the like good civilized countries do. Look at that private consumption. Used to be 50%, and now it's getting down below 35%. They're not going to be able to get that line back up again anytime soon, because the trend is definitely going down. The 5-year plan is to get it back to go back up again, but the best made plans of mice and men aft gang agley. And let's just finish where we started, with the London banker and anomie, a collapse of the social structures governing a given society. Because we're all coming under pressure, and things tend to fall apart when they come under pressure. Wish you a good week. Bye.